like a roller coaster of like, we finished that year, like was gutted, and then you go into that stage like being really motivated, and I remember being like, all right, next year, like I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. Like we're gonna, like, well, personally, like, train your ass off, and like I remember what everyone said. Like next year, like I'm gonna make you proud. And then that next year in 2021, that's when I first did. That's when I did my ACL, and I remember like as a athlete, like you don't even have to know anything about any sport, but like when someone says like ACL to you,
it's big.
Yeah, it's massive. Like you just think like, oh, I'm in a bit of trouble here. So it was like 7 games into the year, had a couple good first games, and then got like suspended for 2. Had like a shocker. I think it was like round 7 against Cows in Townsville. Did my ACL there. Would have scored my first try, bro.
Disallowed.
Yeah, disallowed. Disallowed a forward pass. So that flipped the script. 30 games later, was still there. So but yeah, and then that whole like rehab journey of just like the ebbs and flows and how slow it is, and then like that was COVID. So
what was your mindset when you first did your ACL? Was it like, nah, rehab straight back into it, or was there ever a feeling of like, man, this actually sucks, like this isn't fair?
Like at the start, like mine was so innocuous. So I don't want to feel like I got robbed of like the big experience, but I was like running, got caught up in a tackle. Like Frankie Molo just like fell on my leg. Like it would happen just to anyone, like fell down on my leg, and then I still remember it, and someone told me this, and like it's the most perfect way, but mine literally felt like if you like cracked a stick of celery, like that sound of like, I don't know, that definitely doesn't sound like it, but like if you cracked it,
you're pretty close, bro.
Like if you cracked it, like it was just that pop, and like not knowing what it was, but my like leg went numb, and I was like hobbling around a bit, try to keep playing. Then I like started to run it out. And the physio's like, Lukey, funniest guy ever. He's like the man, but he's just like such a 180 straighty as well. And he's like running out, trying to get to me, has a quick suss on my knee, and like being a like physio student, like I know like the ones he's doing, and like he goes to the ACL, and you just get that feeling of like he does like mine's my left leg, so he does like left first, and they compare to your right, like does the right, and then you see them like, you know, you see people like looking, and they're like, go back to the left, gives it a tug.
He's thinking it through.
He's like, yeah, like that's definitely more like they call it laxity, like looser than that. And I just remember him looking at me, he goes like, taps my leg, and he's like, mate, I think you need to come off. And I'm like, why? He's like, I think you've done your ACL. And I remember just like in that moment, like we have a pretty funny relationship. It's good now, but I like in that moment I told him, he's like, you're coming off, and I'm like, nah. And he's like, oh, yeah, I need to get you off like to check it. And I told him to, we can edit it, but I was like, eat a dick, Frank.
Can we bleep that?
Yeah, I was like, Frank, eat a dick. And I ran off, and he said he was like the funniest, like, but most rattled he's been on the field. He was like looking, he like ran to the sideline. He's like trying to get someone, like, he just, what happened? He just told me to eat a dick. Like, we need to get him off. Like, it's the funniest thing now, bro. And he reckons he does chats at unis and that, and they're like asking him about funny experiences, and like he doesn't say those words, so he's like, you're just gonna have to learn to like embrace things in the moment and not take it for what it is. But
imagine if you're a physio student, like these are the practices where you have to navigate with like dealing with athletes and where they don't want to come off the footy field.
Yeah,
that's a perfect example.
Perfect. And especially when like I started to feel right, so like I felt like, no, it can't be that. Like probably denial was like my first thing. Like, no, it can't be that. Eventually came off, and then like you get assessed by the other doctors in the sheds, and then like he basically says like, yeah, I think you're like brown bread now. So I just remember like the whole shock thing at the start, and then that was like the COVID bubble that they brought everything up to the coast. So
you obviously came up.
Well, yeah. So because we were living in Brisbane playing for the Broncos, like we were at home, but it was nearly worse, bro. So not worse than everyone's COVID experiences, but for like the athlete NRL bubble, because so the guys from like Sydney and Melbourne, or like you guys, you came up and like stayed in like a hub that they made at like Sunny Coast, or so it was like 4 or 5 teams, and not that it was like a holiday, but it was like a bit better. Whereas they like restricted us to like home or training, and it would be like, oh, at least you're in your home, but it was like literally like you didn't leave for like groceries and that.
Yeah.
And then for me, like being like injured in that period, and then I had to go into the bubble, and it was like the last thing I wanted to do. Like, like I did not want to do it at all. But our physio, and I'm like super lucky, like 2 awesome mates, like 2 Irish dudes, Ryland and Crawford, physio and like strength coach. They were like the guys that I wanted to like do my rehab with me. So I was like motivated in that sense, but it was like they were going in the bubble because they got to like support the boys. So I had to go in there, and that was like the worst thing ever because I remember just as like you get in there at like 6 a.m. and you got to train before the boys. So you train 6 to 9, and then I'm not a good watcher, bro. So like Kev might ask me to like watch training, try and help some people here and there, and that was like something I definitely didn't want to do.
Because you want to be there?
Yeah, like you want to be in it, and then so I was hated like that whole bubble, but like could kind of like lock in for my rehab, and yeah, I got to talk to Darbs about some of that stuff, and then him just telling me like just try and take it as an opportunity to like just get better every day, and people are gonna think once you've done an ACL, he did an Achilles, like you're done. And for me, like I didn't want to like being like 22, you're like when. Like, what the hell?
Coming
like,
into your peak time of career, right?
I'm supposed to be playing, like, you're seeing your mates playing, like, whether it be, like, Origin or something, and, like, things you want to do, and all you're doing is thinking about, like, I can't even get back on the field, or, like, if I get back and I'm, like, shit, like, in the brutal honesty of it, like, what do I do? Like, where do I go? Like, where's all the hard work? So, like...
You're having these thoughts.
Yeah, you're having all those thoughts, and, yeah, chuck the bubble in it, and I was just off it proper, and then... you start to get back, and then like you just try and find like little things of enjoyment. But at the same time, my nan got like diagnosed with bowel cancer, and she was living like with my mum and dad.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, bro, and she was living with mum and dad. And then I remember like at the start, it was like my thing then was like, all right, I'm gonna get back on the field. Like for her to play, watch me play. And she wasn't even like the biggest like footy fan, but like if like you know your grandkids play, she like watch it and like start to pick up little things. So it was like cool in that essence. But yeah, like things got worse for her, and I couldn't get back before obviously the end of the year. So I came back in 22. But I remember the whole time all I was thinking was like wanted to do that, and then she ended up passing away at the end of the year. So it's like that whole other thing of like then you feel like fuck, like couldn't get back early enough for that. And it's just like the thing I learnt best from it was like things are like never always as bad as it, or like bad times suck and like good times are good, but they're like never as bad or never as good as they seem, or like they just like happen, like compound, bang, 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 and you just gotta learn to like deal with it. Or it'll be like good, but like without knowing, like it's not gonna last forever.
When you're in like that moment, like the hardest thing you've gone through is the hardest thing you've gone through, and it's also the same for those good times. Like the good times are so euphoric, but then you like zoom out and you take a look back, and it's like, well, actually, I could get through that, or actually, you know what, that was actually a really cool thing. But it gives you like a little bit more perspective, like taking a step back.
Yeah.